So you've been to Joe and the Juice and enjoyed the Nutty. The problem is that 2 nutties a week would set you back over £1,000 in just 1 year. Let me show you how to recreate it without maxing out your credit card. Joe and the Juice use the following ingredients, but they don't specify quantities. I went through over 1 kilo of almond butter experimenting until I was happy with the flavour and texture. It's very close to the Nutty you'll buy in store, but I also make my own version where I add some extra ingredients to really make it sing. I'll show you that later in the video. Joe uses date puree, but if you've got a powerful blender, whole dates are way more convenient. I'm using my Vitamix E310. You can make your own puree by blending dates and hot water, and I'll link to the recipe I used in the description. I'm far too lazy to keep this up though, and whole dates work just fine. I asked the staff how much date puree they use. In the UK, it's 1 miniature ice cream scoop that looks like a generous tablespoon. In the Netherlands, they told me 2 scoops and showed me this cup for reference. Their shakes were definitely sweeter, so I feel like their spoons must be larger. I add 2 dates because my bananas are usually overripe. If yours aren't, or if you have more of a sweet tooth, try 4 to 6 dates. There might be some trial and error until you find the right level of sweetness for you. 150 ml of Sproud milk. You could use any milk really. 50 grams of almond butter. I use Pip and Nut and 1 kilo costs around £15, but it'll make 20 nutties. For context, £15 will buy just 1.5 nutties in a London branch of Joe and the Juice. 1 teaspoon of Maca, good for your libido apparently. A small banana. I try to buy a few bunches, let them ripen, then break them up and freeze them. Brown bananas really increase the sweetness, which means you can cut down on the dates. Joe and the Juice use collagen and whey protein powder, vanilla flavoured apparently. I use 15 grams of unflavoured pea protein. It's a good amount because it contains 12 grams of protein and I don't really taste it. You can probably get away with more if you're using vanilla. 10 or so ice cubes and we're ready to blend. If your Nutty is lacking something and you've already increased the amount of dates and that hasn't helped, consider the almond butter that you're using. I love this one, it's got a really good taste and texture, and they add a bit of sea salt which really boosts the flavours and it makes a big difference in the final Nutty. We will make the Nutty as before. What I've found is that occasionally with the dates, even when I blend in my Vitamix on speed 10 for a minute and a half, I can end up with tiny little bits of dates still in the bottom. That doesn't bother me one bit. I always think of Homer Simpson when he found the sugar and Lisa was like, why are there bits of glass in this? And he's like, those are prizes. I feel like the bits of date are prizes at the bottom of the drink, but I know not everybody will feel that way. I would say most people want a really smooth smoothie, in which case, soak your dates for a bit. Almond butter. There's my clock. I'm not quite sure how I feel about Maca powder. I think I love it, but there's something there that's a bit like woo. And it smells really vanilla-y and butterscotchy, but also very strong. And it reminds me of that scene in American Hustle, where Jennifer Lawrence is talking about how the best perfumes are laced with something nasty. Flowers, but with garbage. That's what this reminds me of. I do think it adds quite a lot to the Nutty though. It works really well. All right, we've got the basic Nutty. Now I'm going to add a few extras. I've got the kefir I strained earlier. I just want to add like a shot's worth. Kefir has got loads of good bacteria in it, so definitely a good thing to add. Ugh. Flax seeds are something that I add to most smoothies, and they add omega-3s, but they need to be ground up for you to be able to get the benefit from them, so it's just a no-brainer to add them to smoothies. I think these are also called linseed as well, and I've got a mixture of brown and golden here. I just sort of eyeball it. It's probably about a couple of tablespoons. No, maybe it's more like a big tablespoon. Cinnamon is an ingredient that they add to unicorn tears. I don't add a lot, but I think it goes really well with the other flavours in the Nutty. By all means, leave it out if you're not a cinnamon fan. Creatine used to be known more as a bodybuilding supplement, but research has shown that is good for everyone, and especially women of a certain age. So I'm in my 40s now, and I've been taking it for a while. A guy at my gym said it's like a cheat code for muscles, and I haven't found that, but I just take the suggested amount, 3 grams a day. He definitely takes more, and when he started, he didn't have a solid bowel movement for a week, so ease yourself in. I will add a little bit, but because I've already had it today, I don't want too much. Joe and the Juice list it as an extra that you can order. I don't know how much they put in. I love this before going to the gym. I tend to go to the gym in the evenings, so usually there's been a big gap since lunch, and this gives me a really good amount of energy. I used to have a banana, but this feels like a supercharged banana. The blender is so loud. As I turned it on, a flock of birds took off outside. I love this blender, but it's loud. It's got a lovely, subtle, vanilla-y almond flavour. It's not an in-your-face protein shake like a chocolate shake might be. It's wonderful. Sometimes we make it with peanut butter. It doesn't have quite as much protein as almond butter, but it's half the price. So that's quite a nice swap if you want to keep the cost down. If you're a fan of the Nutty, do consider subscribing because I'm planning on making the whole range of Joe and the Juice protein shakes. I bought beetroot powder for beets and berries, and I also got spirulina for unicorn tears. I noticed that they've discontinued that one. They've replaced it with Trust Your Gut, which is a kefir shake that contains a mysterious fibre booster and no protein powder. So interesting move, Joe. Anyway, while you're here, if you're in the market for more high protein recipes, why not check out this video where I pimp up a bowl of Bran flakes. Protein and fibre for days.